Hey everybody, welcome to H4G. I'm Tony.
I'm Richie.
Today we're going to be talking about Nintendo's practice of constantly shutting down fan projects. I'm going to be taking the position of, hey, Nintendo, don't do that. It hurts the community. Just leave them be.
I'm going to take the stance that may or may not be my own, that Nintendo has every right to protect their intellectual property and should at all costs.
Cheers.
No. This is not a friendly debate.
No.
This is a murder.
So obviously, Nintendo's fans love their IPs, right? So they wouldn't be spending years of their lives to develop fan games and ROM hacks and this and that if they didn't care about them and buy every single damn one. If I'm making a Pokemon, if I'm making Pokemon Prism, which was shut down recently, or Pokemon Uranium that had a couple million downloads, I'm obviously just eating up everything that's Pokemon, right? So obviously I really care. It's a labor of love, and I'm getting smacked by Nintendo. Screw you, get out of here, don't touch it. I think it's wrong.
I also think it's wrong for you to eat up everything that's Pokemon that is carnivorous and barbaric.
Oh.
As is stealing the IP of a company, Nintendo, whose entire business model basically is the strength of their IPs. They are not an all-star hardware company. Ever since
That's true.
anything past the Super Nintendo, Nintendo hardware has been at least a couple steps behind the competition. That's
Yell
not
at Richie
controversial.
in the comments below.
That element of this argument is not
Yell at
controversial.
Richie.
That's the hard truth.
GameCube was more powerful than the PS2.
Except for the fact that the discs were small and the games were small and the library was small, but that's a software problem. I can't really...
Sounds like a personal problem. Exactly.
But yeah, basically, Nintendo's entire strength is their IPs. They have to put their foot down and say, you can't get a free lunch on your Pokemon. If you want your Pokemons, you gotta come to the source.
Okay. So if Nintendo's strength is their IPs, that means that their IPs are obviously they're making the money, right? The whole purpose of having an intellectual property is to make them money, right? So two questions you have to ask yourself. One, are these fan games deterring people from purchasing the real product? I would say no, it doesn't have any sort of an effect like that, because basically these people are uber fans, right? Your average grandma buying a Pokemon's games for her grandson at the GameStops, has no idea Prism exists, right? She's not gonna download that game and send her grandson the ROM for Christmas, right? She's gonna go to the store and get the newest Pokemons that she can, or that she stumbles across somewhere from your local Pokemon street vendor. And that's the purchase, right? Because parents and grandparents and like adults are purchasing these games for kids, and people like us, we're purchasing, if we're Uber fans, we're buying every game anyways, right? We're probably playing these fan games on the in-between time. So that's not really affecting their bottom line.
Potentially. But I think part of the reason also that Nintendo steps in to protect their IPs is to protect territory that they might want to expand in.
Okay.
Like a lot of the fan projects for Mario back in the day were shut down, and everybody was complaining because it's like, why don't we have a Mario game where we can just create the Mario game?
Yeah.
And then Nintendo developed Super Mario Maker. It was a huge success. Everybody loved it.
Sure.
I feel like part of why they protected their IP so fiercely was so that they would have the opportunity to make a game like that and do it right and do it in a way that can bring a bunch of fans in.
Sure. I would say sometimes yes, sometimes no. So you played Pokemon Uranium, right?
I played a little bit of it, yeah.
Was there anything revolutionary in it?
I wouldn't say so, no.
So there wasn't really anywhere to expand to within the realm of what that game was attempting to do. So that would probably be the case where Nintendo is just like, screw you, it's our IP. and furthermore, this isn't Nintendo, this is Square, so it's a little bit off topic. But you remember all those Chrono Trigger,
Oh yeah.
fan games that were coming out? There was one that was like PS2 graphics. Square was like, hey, don't touch those, okay? And everyone's like, oh shit, like maybe Square has a new fucking Chrono game in the works, right? And it was just a remake for the DS, or it was just a port, basically. You know what I mean? So it was like sometimes I think you're correct, but other times they're just like, oh well, we have like another 50th port Final Fantasy VII coming out. You know what I mean?
No, Square I feel has approached it in an entirely different way than Nintendo has, because pretty much, well, maybe it's not so much the approach to the cease and desists itself, but just the company's approach in general, where, yeah, they've re-released pretty much verbatim versions of every Final Fantasy on every platform that's come out in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. Why...
Milking that cow.
Why stop these projects that are advancing your franchises?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I respect it a little bit more when Nintendo does it, because Nintendo has generally pushed the envelope a little bit more with its franchises than...
Square is a lazy son of a bitch. When it comes to its IPs, I definitely agree.
At the same time, well, that's an issue for another...
What were you going to say?
No. Well, I'm just saying, I feel like Square has incentive to just move product, period.
Okay.
If they release a game that gets crummy reviews because it's a weak port, but people still buy it,
yeah,
great.
There's
but
still
Nintendo has to get that buzz up because they're anticipating the product to move system.
Yeah.
So
that's fair, yeah.
A lot of times they're making a game that has to justify a $200 purchase because they're expecting it to bring people into the system as well. I guess ultimately at the end of the day that doesn't change the dynamic of the actual debate topic, but I feel like that's probably why Nintendo has actually been doing more with their star franchises.
Yeah. No, I mean, but again, Nintendo is shutting down these fan games that are like in the style of like 3 generations behind. You know what I mean? So it really does beg the question of how necessary is it? So let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Is it right for Nintendo to shut down all of these fan projects in selective cases? Is it right for them to do so? Obviously they have the legal right to protect their IPs, but should they be doing this?
Right, and even beyond the legality and ethics of it, just, is it a wise process? Is it effective? Mm-hmm. Does this actually protect sales as much as they think it does?
Is it super effective to be Pokemon-ish?
I'm not even arguing my own point anymore. Clearly I'm drunk.
There we go. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for clicking the notification button so you can be aware of all of our videos coming out.
And thank you for commenting below.
Ooh, we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a share, and we will see you guys next time.